All right, ladies and gents, it's been a bit since we've talked about Titans League, but if you followed the first seasons of Titans League, you'll know that when I announced it, we were supposed to have a season every 6 months. And we're on course for that. The second season is coming soon of Gold and Platinum League. We'll have time to talk about that. But what's exciting right now in December of 2022 is that we are starting Silver from season 1. So, long story short, right? You have players who are relegated out of Gold, and we need to fill those spots from Gold League. I'll quickly just show the groups and what happened in Gold. See, all the players who are in red are dropped out, and other people are looking to play and fill their spots. So instead of having Silver played at the same time, because we don't really have the prize pool for the whole thing to be able to inject a ton of money into Silver, it's essentially a knockout bracket, and that knockout bracket is going to be happening over the next couple weeks. We have 144 players in that bracket, I believe, and we also allow the players who were relegated to try and get back in if they wish to and want to earn their spot, all right? So that's the gist. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to talk about, I'm going to actually go through each group, and I'm going to predict, what I think is possible and who could potentially go through, and then I'll talk a little bit about coverage and casting of it at the tail end, all right? Going to try and keep this as quick as possible. So, in Group A, excuse me, I just got to turn this off. There we go. This is Group A. So, I was originally thinking about, going through and doing predictions for, and dragging the names and doing all of this, but I think that will be too time-consuming. So, I'm going to talk about the direction I think things are going to go. Keep in mind, you need to win a final here. So it goes best of 3, best of 3, best of 5, best of 5, using the first season of Titans League settings. Nothing changes there, all right? So this is going to be an interesting group. I think Ema, being the number 1 seed, being the highest, ranked player in this whole thing, I think Ema is going to probably go through to the semifinal on this side. The two names you got to pay attention to here are Sizcon, who's an up-and-coming French player. He just kind of came out of nowhere. And then you've got Ozone, who's played thousands of games and has been getting better and better. I think, I know Ozone more than Sizcon, and I think Ozone is going to be able to take Sizcon, but it's going to be really close there. And then I think, it's going to be a fight between those two for the finals. Down here is a little tricky for me. I'm not too familiar with Brave Bear. I believe this is a Chinese or Taiwanese or some like an Asian player who typically doesn't play under Brave Bear, but a bunch of characters that I can't read. I'm a little uncertain on all this, to be honest with you guys. It's good to see Kamigawa back, an Italian player. You've got another French player, a Swedish player. All these guys could compete all the way towards the finals. But if I had to pick one name in this group, I had to pick one name to go through, I think I would actually go with Ema. I played the guy on the ladder. His consistency is crazy. I just don't know if he's going to really know how to handle some of the maps. All right, moving on to the next group. And I'm so excited because we're seeing the name Lan involved. For those that don't know, Lan was top 10 at one point. I think it was 2020. He was in the top 10. And he has been relatively inactive in events. The good news about Silver here is you play. If you qualify, you go immediately into Gold, which starts in January. And then if you're top 8 there, he could be in Platinum with the big boys in another 6 months after that, right? That's the beauty of Titans League is if you are inactive or if you're an up-and-comer, there's a path for you to get back with the big players. So I think Lan is my absolute favorite just to terrorize this upper bracket. But I don't think that you should count out players like Kongen. Kongen's a player from Denmark who I think with practice could take, a set against Lan in a best of 5. Also, Socrates is a player who I've seen on the ladder recently. I believe he's Israeli. I played him on the ladder last month, and he was actually saying, he was super nice, man, saying oh, you brought me back to the game, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, he's a beast, all right? Sorry, I'm a little hyper and a little excited for all this. But, down here, you got King Boo. King Boo, the second seed. I'm excited to see what he can do because he's someone who really likes to practice different maps. You've got Andre as well, who's been getting better and better. I think we're going to have, King Boo and Andre run into each other here in the semifinals. I think Andre goes through against King Boo, and then I think Lan beats Andre and ends up advancing into Gold. Oops. All right, here's the next group. Next group's a fun one, guys. So this one is really hard to call because you've got a lot of talent that has also proven themselves in the past. And then you've got like a nice mix of underrated talent too. So Stray Dog is one of like Mr. Yo and China's pupils, right? He's like one of the players who's been around the 2400 level, and he's gotten some good results in tournaments. So I think in terms of like tourney nerves, experience, all that stuff, Stray Dog's going to have the edge over this group. So I favor Stray Dog to go through to the semifinals. And I think Stray Dog is going to be up against Derp. So for those that don't know Derp, he's a player from the Netherlands, and he is in the Clown Legion team. He is one of the exceptions in that Clown Legion team. He's actually incredibly fast and really good on open maps. So what's nice for him is he's going to have that closed map experience, and he's good on open maps. So that's why I favor him over everyone here. I actually think Derp Stray Dog best of 5 semi could be really sick. I am still going to give Stray Dog the edge, but I think Derp's preparation will be better. So, anyways, down here, Noisik is a name you probably haven't seen in a while. A Chilean player who was in the top 30 at one point. As far as I know, he didn't sign up for the first season. I kind of forget. Noisik is my favorite to make it all the way to the final on this side if he's back in top shape. And if he's anywhere close to that, I think he's going to be better than everyone else. You've got some fun names like Beery, the most annoying player of 2022 per my videos. Beery's got some crazy strats, but it's tourney time, right? You've got picks, you've got bans, you've got strategy, you've got different maps. I think Beery will suffer up against a player like Noisik. And in the end, if I had to put money on someone, might actually say Noisik beats Stray Dog in a best of 5 to qualify. Moving on to the next group, we have another player, much like Lan we talked about earlier, who has signed up for Titans League, guys. We got 2 names, actually, which are really exciting to see in here. So we've got Hart. Hart on Team Aftermath. He, for the first season, we didn't have silver at that point, right? We started gold and platinum with the intention of doing silver after the fact to kind of set us up for the second season. And Hart signed up, and I told the guys, like, listen, you sign up, and just like I said before with Lan, you make it into gold. He's so good that he's favored to maybe even be top 8 in gold, and then he's in platinum in the top 24 in the world come summertime. So Hart is my favorite in the top area of this group. This player I've been seeing a lot about. I know Dratek very well. Saladeska is actually the guy who is my original editor who made my T90 logo, so shout out to him. Woo woo. But yeah, I think like as long as Hart takes it seriously, Hart has so much tourney experience and has shown how good he is. And Hart should be through to the finals on this side. The other name that is signed up here, who has kind of gone from the game for a bit and is returned, is Jibitong, who is like, close friends with like Vivi, Yo, all those guys from China. Jibitong is also my favorite here. And I consider these guys like clear favorites in their sides to make it through to the finals. And I think Hart would win, though that might be a close series. Shout out to like Dave Hun and Lobo. Like these guys have been doing really well this year. And they're kind of the players that Silver is designed for. It's good to see those opportunities for them, but I just don't see anyone beating Jibitong if Jibitong's playing as good as I know he can play. Shout out to Strode too, who was originally going to be my first round opponent, but then we realized there was a mistake with the brackets and we had to redo it. All right, guys, this gets exciting now. So we've got Group E, and there might be a name in Group E that you see that might be interesting for you. So the upper half of the bracket, the number 1 seed in the group is Husiel, Chilean player, around 2K3 typically. And much like his buddy Noisik, has kind of gone in and out of activity over the past couple years. But like, again, perfect opportunity for a player like this to sign up and show what he's capable of and make it into gold. So he's my favorite in this upper bracket. I think he's going to make it all the way to the semifinals at least. And, who I favor? I mean, you've got John Slow, right? Famous arena player. We'll see how he performs. He might be able to win the first round, but I don't see him beating Levi in the second round. Levi, another Argentinian who's super talented and motivated. So ultimately, I think like Levi, Husiel will be really close here. I think either could advance, but I'd favor Husiel. And then the lower part of the bracket, It's interesting, right? So, this T90 guy, he's not so good with his farms. He's going to have to improve that. But I think he's favored to beat Lucho and get to here. Should be favored to beat any of the winners from this part of the bracket as well and move to the semis. And then in the semis, he's most likely going to be meeting someone like Emil, maybe someone like Gabby or Luca. Luca at one point was like 15 in the top 100 and was gone for the past 2 years. So he's back. Emil, talented Danish player. Gabby, the best female player in the scene from Brazil. So I think like the way I expect this panning out is I think that Emil or Gabby is going to end up meeting me in the semi. And I think I am favored to win that series. So it's put up or shut up time for me. And then I'm favored to make it to the final, at least on paper and whatnot. And that'll be an intense series if I make it there. I mean, I've got a lot of work to do. And it's really hard when I'm organizing coverage of the event, running the multiple YouTube channels, making sure I have Cass up, making sure I'm streaming, doing all this stuff, and then family time with the holidays. But I'll be honest with you guys, my mindset's really good. I've done a couple training games here or there, and I'm going to do more. I think my approach is good. And I think the fact that I covered so much, well, pretty much all of the first seasons of Titans League, and it's the same settings as that first season for this. Again, I think I should actually qualify for gold. We'll see. There's some great players I'm going to have to play up against, and I'm going to have to play my best to do it. I'm excited and a little nervous, not going to lie. All right. Here in the next group, we've got Mihai as a number 1 seed. And this is a fun little bracket here. So Mihai is clearly going to win that first series. I think he'll clearly win the second series as well and go to the semis. You've got Survivalist and Tamate as the two big standout names on the lower half. I think Tamate and Survivalist will be like a really competitive best of 3. Like one of the closest best of 3s in round 2 because they're both like, I think their styles just kind of match up nicely against each other. Survivalist is better in late game, and maybe he's not so good on like hybrid map situations. Tamate is better in early game, and he's really good on hybrid maps. I'm going to go with Tamate, though, because I think he has more tourney experience and more of a tourney outlook. But I could see either player going through there, getting completely slapped by Mihai, and then Mihai goes through to the final. And then down here, the players I expect to make it to the final will be El Matador, and forgive me, Brazilians, I don't know how to say his name. Paganini? I think it's Paganini. Anyways, Brazilian player here and then Vietnamese guy. I think these two, whoever wins down here, will face El Matador. That'll be really close best of 5. And then I still give Mihai the advantage in the best of 5 final against whoever he faces up against. He's been doing some crazy things on ladder. I saw he and El Matador are actually practicing together, which is interesting. But like the fact that they're practicing in general means they're really motivated. And again, they've got the talent. All right, guys, we've got a couple more groups. Thanks for bearing with me. Moving on to the next group. We've got Bad Koala. So another great Chinese talent. We'll be excited to see how Bad Koala performs. Now, he's not up against Yo as Mr. Yo, okay? That's another Yo. I think it's like a Belgian Yo who's like 1,800 or 1,700. I think Bad Koala is going to go all the way through here, at least to the semi. Shade's an Italian player who has like streaks of motivation, and I mean, he's a talented guy, played him a lot. And then you've got Manos, Argentinian. Both these two are going to have a crazy round 2 set, I think, against each other. The thing that I'm going to give, the reason I'm going to give Shades the edge is because I think Manos, I just don't know how much he prepares for these things. I don't know how much he's going to practice. I think he just likes to play the game for fun. He's been around a long time, just having fun. I think Shades can take him there. Ultimately, though, Bad Koala makes it to the final. We've got White Court. White Court is another Chilean talent. I expect this guy to do big things. I think he makes it all the way down here at least. And you might recognize Gemjack and Clement from the first season. So let me just tab out real quick. Okay, so Gemjack and then Clement. Both of these guys want to come back. Both of these guys want back in. So they're playing again. Gemjack was relegated out of Group B, and Clement was relegated out of Group C. So where were we here? Was this it? Yeah. So those guys are trying to get back into gold. So that's the situation there. Ultimately, I think having like knowing the players very well, I think it's going to be a bad koala and white court best of 5 final. I'm a little uncertain on white court's level right now, but I think white court will win that. Again, the question I have of bad koala is how much is he practicing? How good is his drafting going to be and things like that? And I think if white court's motivated, I think he'll beat bad koala. But it'll be close. It'll be super, super close. All right, we've got 2 more groups here. And this one's also very, very fun. All these groups are so stacked. There's going to be so much action, so much potential talent's going to go through, so much opportunity. Samero, player from the Czech Republic, #1 seed here. I expect he'll go through the semis with ease. And he'll probably face up against either Arg, who's a Polish player who's been super, solid on the ladder, kind of out of nowhere. He beat Slam in a qualifier recently, guys. I forget what qualifier it was for, but he straight up beat Slam. I think it was the Red Bull qualifier. He beat him 2-0. So if he's beating Slam, you never know. And then God of the Godless is a player I've made lots of videos on, very aggressive, very talented. So I think this is kind of an awkward round 2 matchup for these two because they're so good. And I think either one of them could actually beat Samero here. I'm going to say Samero goes to the finals, though, because he is frustratingly good at mixed maps. And there's a lot of mixed maps. And he's a preparer, man. He's really good strategic outlook. I think he's super underrated as a player. And, yeah, I think that he will do well. Now, you've got Hope, a Vietnamese player, who I think will go all the way through to the semis. Most likely going to be up against Blackheart. And I think Hope's going to beat Blackheart there because Blackheart's a little one-sided with his maps. He's more of a closed player, thus the CL, the Clown Legion tag. So ultimately, I think we have Samero and Hope here in a best of 5. I think he goes to 5 games. Flip a coin, but I might actually lean more towards Hope. I think maybe in a best of 5 with a larger map pool, he might find the maps that work for him. I don't know, though. I don't know. All right, and then the final group, guys. The final group is going to be a fun one because we've got Huang. I can't believe Huang signed up. Huang never signs up for tournaments these days, but he signed up, and not only did Huang sign up, he's been playing random Civ on the ladder. So he's not just playing Celts and just playing Spanish. I think he's trying to get as much experience with different Civs as possible because that's the problem with Huang. Is if he plays in tournaments, they just ban all his civilizations, and he can't play Arabia every game, and he's going to die, really badly. And I actually think there's a chance that Huang makes it through to the semifinals, to be honest. But I think Nahuel, who I think's Argentinian, I think Nahuel and Cosmonaut, whoever wins out of them, because I expect them to advance, will absolutely slap him in a best of 5. They're good enough to play them on the ladder a bunch. They have experience there. I played Nahuel in Wandering Warriors Cup. Super tough player to play against. He's only gotten better. Cosmonaut also is I think he hit 2,300 or 2,400 recently, a guy from Turkey. So I think that I would say Cosmonaut's my favorite to make it to the final. And then in the top, guys, I kind of skipped over this. Again, you've got lots of talent. You've got Anatov, the beastly player who would team with Sato and co all the time in team games. He's actually signing up for a 1v1 event for I don't know about the first time, for one of the rare moments he's done so. I don't know what to expect from him in 1v1s. I know El Naniro's decent. I think he's Polish or something. But anyways, I would say, let's say Anatov gets here. I think Overtaken's going to destroy everyone in round 1 and round 2 and then be heavily favored in round 3. And then I still have Overtaken as my favorite in the finals as well. He's just so good. And if you remember what happened with Overtaken in the first season is that he was in the group of death. So the group of death had Sato, Sebastian, Kingston, Daniel, and then himself, and then Bloodless. And it wasn't like he got completely washed in that group. Bloodless did. Bloodless didn't win a game, but he was 1 win away from staying up and relegating some of these other crazy talents. So, in the end, I think Overtaken was a little unfortunate with his group. He showed how competitive he was in the first season of Gold. And I think Overtaken is going to be back in business and back into Gold come season 2. He's really active. He's really talented. And yeah, that's basically it. So that was as quick a breeze through as I could possibly do. I tried to give as much background and information on the players as possible. Basically, the timeline for this is we have like 6 days around starting December 1st, which is today. And so, the 4 rounds are going to go by really quick. And then in January, we have gold and we have platinum starting for Titans League. So one thing I wanted to clarify that I didn't clarify, and I apologize for that, is the reason we have 9 groups here is because there's one player who's unable to come back for gold this season. And that player is Bruh, or is it Bruh? What am I missing here? It should be Bruh, right? There's a player. Well, this is really, really poor on my part. Is it Rapard? Who is it? Why am I not? Bruh was in Plat. Oh, yeah. Okay, so Bruh was in Plat, but he was getting relegated down. So my bad. It wasn't on the screen because he got relegated down. So yeah, Bruh unfortunately can't play. So because he was getting relegated down, those spots were obviously filled in platinum from the 8 people from silver or gold. And I've screwed this up, but basically that's why we have 9. All right. That's the situation there. So in terms of coverage, everyone, we've put like very little restrictions on when people can cast it, when people can cover it or whatever. And I am not committing to covering all of it or most of it, to be honest, in silver, because we are a couple weeks away from holidays. I'm playing in the frickin' thing, and it's imperative that the players get to play in a time that's as convenient for them as possible, and they don't have to worry about Mr. T90 making sure he's available. I'm going to cover some, right? And I'm definitely going to cover the final best of 5s in every single group. So that's something I'm committing to. We really want to cover those best of 5s to see who gets into gold. But as for when that's going to happen in terms of the stream and all that, I can't really tell you right now. But I can tell you guys that I'm excited for it. I'm motivated to play as well. And I hope everyone is now more informed and excited and hopefully on board as well. Good opportunity, man, for our scene, right? We still have a very top-heavy scene. And the Titans League is trying to get more money into the pockets of players who are playing this game a lot. I'm trying to give more opportunity to the players who aren't in that top 10, top 20 all the time. And I just think it's a really exciting thing that we are having this conversation, that so many names are signing up, and that this is going to be a continuous thing, hopefully, for years and years and years, as I want to do this, one season every 6 months. So thank you, everybody, for, being supportive of the whole thing. Trying my best out here to juggle all these different things in my life right now. And wish me luck. Honestly, wish me luck. I'm going to need it in my group, in Group E. But, I will say, in terms of all the groups I could have gotten, I know it's not rigged. I think this group gives me a pretty good chance, right? If I was running into names like Overtaken, which I talked about, and some of the other groups, like maybe Bad Koala, there's just a couple killers out there in some of these other groups. I wouldn't have as much confidence, but I think, I've got a decent chance at maybe qualifying into gold and then getting relegated out of gold because everyone in gold is actually far too good, and I won't be able to train or practice at all. But that's fine. Anyways, that's the end of my spiel. Looking forward to silver. Let me know in the comments, YouTube, if there's going to be, I think this is going to be on YouTube. Yeah. Who you think is going to be a real star, how you think things are going to go. And then, of course, look forward to more information, which will come out in early 2020. Well, actually, it might be in late December, about the Season 2 opening of Gold and Platinum. Thank you.